Hey third graders, how we doing? I've been leaving you for the last couple weeks, some things to work on as far as your music terms for round robin. And guys, I have to tell you, I have absolutely no doubt that, if we had school the last 2 Fridays, all my third grade classes would probably be clocking in under 5 minutes in round robin. Now, you guys were well on your way, doing such a great job, and I know that you've probably kept up the great work with your music terms at home. And I left you some treble clef stuff last week. What we had kind of started before the break is we started working on the blues, okay? And we talked a little bit about the 12-bar form, and if you don't really remember that, I left you right below where you would click, or maybe it's above, I'm not really sure yet, right where you would click on this video, you're going to see a diagram of the 12-bar blues. And when we wrote it on the board, we did it with numbers. We said that there had to be a 1 chord, and sometimes we called that the tonic. We said there had to be a 4 chord, and there had to be a 5 chord. And we spent some time in class figuring out how we figure out exactly what that is. The example we used, we said, if your first note, your tonic, is A, then after that, you would have B, C, D, and E, okay? So if A is the first one, we skip over to the 4th finger. Your 4th note or chord would be D, and your 5th chord would be E. Now the one I left you guys, and the one I'm going to be playing with you today, is a C major blues. So with the C major blues, it's going to start on C. C is our root, our tonic, and then we would have D, E, F, G. So F would be our number 4 chord, and G would be our number 5 chord. So you can see the top line of the blues is going to have a measure of C, a measure of G, and then 2 more measures of C. It's going to kind of sound like this. That last chord goes twice as long because it takes up 2 measures. The middle line, measures 5 through 8 of the blues, are going to be 2 measures of F and then 2 measures of C. So that'll sound like this. Okay, and then that bottom line has the most changes. It's going to have a G going to an F and then going to 2 measures of C. Okay, so it sounds kind of like this. Okay, if we tack all 3 of those lines, all 12 of those measures together, we get a form that kind of sounds like this. Now, another thing we talked about with the blues, we kind of started off talking about how usually when we think of the blues, we think of sad music, but that's only kind of how it starts. It's much more about the order of the chords nowadays, and there is a lot of improvisation involved. And if you don't remember what that is, improvisation is when we make it up as we go along. So we kind of take some notes that we know we're going to work with that, and we just kind of play them in an order that sounds good to us at the time. Okay. Now, we tried our hand at it a little bit on xylophone. Now, the bulk of you, well, first of all, you've done this already, but the bulk of you probably don't have xylophones at home. If you do, you're welcome to try and improvise with the blues changes I'll give you at the end of this video. But what we're going to move to is something called scat singing. And it's basically the same thing as improvising on an instrument, except you're going to use your voice. Now, there's probably some of you who are super thankful that you're doing this at home. Maybe you can, put headphones on, listen to the video, and try along with this. And there's probably some of you who wish you had an audience of 25, when you're going to try this. So basically what scat singing is, making up a solo, but you're using just whatever word comes to mind. You're not really singing a song that is going to make sense, is going to have sentences in it, is even going to have real words in it. Most of the time with scat singing, you would use one-syllable words, short words like do, la, be, bop, do, day, literally whatever comes to mind. It not only will it probably not make sense, it shouldn't make sense, because what we're really thinking more about is the way the melody works with what's going on in the background. Now, you could sit there and you could scat sing with no background music, but the way that you can kind of figure out if you're doing a good job or not is if you are listening to a chord progression like the one we have for the blues, does it kind of match up with what's happening? Now, I'm going to kind of walk you through what to do with it, but you also want to make sure that you listen to the blues guitar line a few times so you know when it's going to change, and you can even follow along a little bit with that chord chart I left you so you know when it's going to get higher or when it gets lower, and then you can kind of adjust your voice accordingly. So I'm going to kind of show you just a short little bit, and then I'm going to give you I'll do it for what we call a chorus of the blues. So just one time through the 12-measure form, and I'm going to leave you with a recording of just the guitar so you can try it as many times as you want. And I hope you'll have fun with it, and I hope you'll kind of try it a couple different times, see if you can come up with some different ideas. So I'll just play one line of the blues to start out, okay? And I'll sing a little bit over it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you can see I'm not really changing out many of the words that I'm doing. I'm using a lot of does and bums and whatever comes to mind. It really does not matter. If you want to kind of change the way that you're putting the words in there, awesome. If you want to go with la and do everything on la, you can do that. La 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 la. Okay, you can do long notes, you can do short notes. The best improvisations, or at least the ones that sound the most interesting and fun, are going to be the ones that kind of have a little bit of everything. Okay? So like I said, go nuts, have fun with it, and, you know, after maybe you take a couple tries through it and see what you can come up with, you can show it off to the people at home, or what would be even more fun than that is you can challenge somebody else to kind of try their hand at it. You know, see who can come up with some interesting ideas, and even talk about what you liked, you know, what you heard that you liked, what maybe you would do different next time. And with improvisation, the #1 rule is do not be afraid to make a mistake. Literally, the worst thing that could happen is you could sing a note that doesn't really sound perfect with the background music, but you know what? Sing another note, okay? Or you could do what blues and jazz musicians do. If you play or sing a note that doesn't quite sound right, just do it again, you know, and try and convince the audience you did it on purpose. So I'm going to kind of do a solo over one chorus of the blues, and then I'm going to play one for you to practice over. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so here's yours, and this is, if you're looking for it, this is around the 9:15 mark in the video. You can go back to that point over and over again and try this as many times as you like. Have some fun with it. Okay, so here's your chorus. I'll give you a count off. 1, 2, 3, 4. right, guys, enjoy that. Seriously, have some fun with it. But also take yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit. Try some different things, and remember, it's okay to make a mistake. And just keep on going with it. I'll see you guys next time, and we're gonna do some more blues stuff. Take it easy.